What up, everybody? Especially I'm in the house. It's Friday, October 26th. A great day to be alive. I'm thankful today. I'm grateful, thankful, always grateful, always thankful. I am amongst the people that are alive that got up this morning. I cannot express how grateful I am to God of his goodness toward me. And you should be extremely grateful for the same thing. I'm telling you, this is a good time to be alive. I'm going to say it one more time for all of you that are in the house today. I know you're supposed to be here. Of all the times to live and to be alive, you're in the greatest time to be alive, to be just to be alive. I'm telling you, it's a great thing. Let me say this. God has incredible things for you. Now, I want to jump this off right because it's Friday and I'm happy. If you are a person of promise, you are a person that's dealing with a lot of problems right now. If you are a person of promise, you are a person that is dealing with problems right now. You are challenged. You are challenged on every side. It seems like everywhere I turn, there's another challenge, Pastor G. I know I got some amens on that. And here's the reason why. You are a person of promise. You have a particular position in what God is trying to do. And your adversary don't like it. Your adversary can't stand you, but he can't do nothing with you. Here's the key. What he cannot destroy, he distracts. What he cannot destroy, he distracts. This is why you're seeing so many things come at you. They are there to distract what he cannot destroy. Stay focused, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize. I'm talking to you. Keep your eye on the prize. Now, we've always taught that focus creates blindness. And it's true in both applications, what a negative, positive. I want you to become so focused on what God has called you to be that you become blind to all of the distractions that are there to limit your life. What the adversary cannot destroy, he distracts. And he comes at you in things and in places, and it will always be things that you hold dear to your heart. Don't think it strange if people that you held dear to your heart start acting strange and funny. That's a tool to distract you because you are close to walking into this great moment called destiny. Destiny is yours. So as Wednesday's Uplift suggested, we have come too far. You have come too far. You sacrificed too much to give up on it now. So in all our getting, we get understanding so that we can move forward in destiny. You are great. What the enemy cannot destroy, he tries to distract, and he brings significant places or people that you hold high or things that are dear to your heart to distract you. He knows exactly what is important to you, so he starts hitting in those areas. But that will not phase you in this season. It will not phase you. You will not relent. You will continue to be all or go after all that God has called you to. Thank you guys so much for being in house. Paris, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tremaine, Clinton, T. Richardson, Tremaine, my guy. Thank you so much, man. Raina in Atlanta, Raina, we're praying for you. Believe that. We got you. Raina lost her mother. She's a faithful warrior. Her text today to me is, I still believe God. So there's so many others of you that are going through right now, what I call the let's see moments. We have this thing in life when tragedy strikes, when disappointment hits. It's called the let's see moments. This is something that God gave me a while back. It says, let's see, talking to me. Let's see if your testimony is true. Let's see if you really trust me when you can't trace me. Let's see. And so many of you right now are going through let's see moments. Let's see moments are not there to kill you. They are there to see and to build you into greater. What cannot kill you always make you better. And here's what you got to remember. What the enemy cannot destroy, He does his best in distraction. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pastor Nolan Brown, thank you so much. My friend, Bishop Fred Harris, man, the post was on point. God is not seeking for weekend visitation. He wants full custody. That blessed my heart. That blessed my heart. Thank you, Sonia Atlanta. Thank you guys so much. Jessica, thank you so much, Jessica, for being in the house. And Adrian, always the first in the house. I've got something that I'm getting into today. I want you to share this. Thank you, Rochelle Wilson. Thank you so much. I got something I'm sharing today. Can you do me a quick favor? Go ahead and invite your friends in the house. My friend, Pastor Apostle Anthony Bradford, man, I love you in Denver, Colorado. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being in the house. Now, let's go. Share this, please. 20, 30, 40, 50 people. I want to tell you something. I want to give you a key really quick. In this next season of life, moving into, and I always say season, but this next moment in life, moving into destiny, please understand, these are moments that might even bore you. I want to warn you of this, because sometimes the thing that we need most for maximum growth is the thing that we desire the least. Yes, it's just the way it is. The thing that we need most for maximum growth are the things that we want least. Right now, we need information. We were so focused on the hoopla, things that gave us momentary relief. What God is trying to do to you is not give you a momentary relief from a situation or a reprieve. He's trying to bring deliverance in your life from what you've been going through. And what he wants is to deliver you from this moment, grow you into the next moment. We've got to get over where we are. And so the thing needed most for us to grow out of a moment into a new moment is instruction, because there will always be instruction before there'll be an illustration. God creates or start creation or start putting things back together. Always, if you read Genesis 1, he always starts with information, illumination, revelation. That's the beginning of creation. That's the beginning of restoration for your life. If you are trying to be restored, there's got to be an instruction that qualifies you for next level. If there's no instruction that qualifies you for next level, you're not going there. Or if you get there, it will be short-lived. It will be short-lived. If you go to a position that you don't have information on or an instruction there, it will be short-lived. And that's been our disappointment, because we were privy to the position, but we did not have the information that allowed us to thrive there. And so it's like it's snatched from us because we didn't have the information to stay in the position. Stay here with me today. Thank you, Christy Jones. Thank you, Terry T, for being in the house. Suzanne, please pray for me. I am so lost. Inbox me, Suzanne. After this, we'll talk. This is very important. This is very important. Now, I want to get to this today. Have you shared me? Have you shared me with your friends? Tell your friends, come in house. Pastor G is here. I am ready to go. I want to give you some keys today, because you're about to live your greatest moment. You are about to live your greatest moment. You're about to live your greatest moment. Here's the challenge. There's something that you need to hear and accept if you're going to come out of your dilemma. That's all of us. I have to hear and accept the instruction of God. You are, and I need to be very, 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 thank you, Rochelle Wilson, for praying for Suzanne. Thank you so much. And those of you that see her, pray with her as well. Watch this. That's what Lunchtime Uplift is all about. We want people to come in that are being devastated by a devil. There's things that people are being tormented by. And that's what this is all about. We want people to live free from the adversary, or to be able to live above his challenges and his wiles. And information always gives us that advantage to live above he's going to attack. But when I am informed, I know how to deal with what he's trying to issue. And that's what Lunchtime Uplift is all about. So today, here it is. I want to share some things with you, because you are walking into your greatest moment. I don't care what your position is. We are all being attacked. I read something very powerful on Wednesday Uplift in Jeremiah 29th chapter, God had told Jeremiah to rebuke Hananiah the prophet, who prophesied that you shouldn't be challenged. You should be living everything restored. And then Jeremiah gets the instruction of God and say, nope, that's not the way it is. You're going to be challenged in some areas, but you can live above the challenge if you go through the way that I have designed. If you go through with the right information, knowing that I'm with you in the challenge. And so text so beautifully, if you read from Jeremiah 1 up to the 11th verse, the 11th verse is the verse that we are most common with, or we know more about, or more familiar with. I know the plans I have, or thoughts I have for you, but there's much information in context before you get to the 11th verse. He tells them to plant a garden where they are, have peace with the place that he placed them, because they were waiting to be great after they were released from captivity. And he says, I'm not waiting for you to be great after you released from captivity. I want the people in the place that you are captive to know that I'm great. You're looking to look good after you have been delivered. I'm looking forward to looking good while you are in the place of deliverance. Are you still here with me? And so you are now about to walk into your greatest moment once you properly process God's process. You got to see it the way God sees it. Now watch this, very important. He says, he tells Jeremiah to prophesy to who? He says, prophesy to the priests, the prophets, and the elders who are all in captivity. In other words, everybody right now in this transitional moment of God is going through, no matter what your title is. You are going through something. You are being challenged right now. Thank God for it. Because if you're being challenged, every king-size anointing can only be engaged when there's a king-size challenge. If David had not experienced and accepted the challenge of Goliath, he would have went down in history as just a shepherd boy. So your challenge are transitional moments to bring you into the greatness of you. If you're not being challenged, then you don't have future. You don't have great future. So everybody that is a person of promise is actually going through some personal problems. Every person of promise is actually going through some personal problems. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it messed up. Look at other people and say, they look like they are handling it a lot better than me. Perhaps they are. But as long as you are handling it, that's the thing. As long as you are keeping your faith in your moment of distress, you're going to make it through it. Now, here it is. Here it is. You can still share. You can still share. Thank you so much, Bishop Norman Timmerman. Thank you so much, Ben House. Here you go. Thank you, Jamie Wilson. Thank you so much. Now, as I move forward, watch this. Very important. Michelle Perkins, thank you so much. Here it is. As we move forward, here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about you letting it go. This is so important. There's some things right now you got to let go of. They are the things that are holding you in this place that you're in, that you so desire to leave. You got to let it go. It can't go with you to your next level. I need you to share this with somebody. I got to get this out to you today. Let it go. The name of this is Let It Go. Somebody write this in, because we're going to emphasize this over the next few uplifts, that you got to let it go. Strategic direction from God allows us to walk into destiny, and destiny is always in details. God is going to give you a directive that really might not sit well with your current position. But if you're ready to move, you're going to have to hear the directive and follow. Act upon it right now. Trust God in this process, because he's going to say something to you from his Godship. In other words, he's going to say something for where he sits that you don't see. But you're going to have to trust him, because there's some things that you are in possession of, or things that prized possession, that God don't think it is as important as you think it is. Stay with me. This is only, I am not naive. This is only for the people that are ready to shift into destiny or promise. God challenges you and say, if you're ready to go, I'm going to give you a directive, and let's see if you can handle what I'm about to give you. And if you're ready to go, this is only for persons of destiny. This next decision you're going to make is difficult. I'm not going to pull the wool over your eye. I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to be easy. I'm not telling you that. Because people that are people of destiny come through great trials and great tribulations. But you were built to handle everything that you are about to go through. God gave you the power. You have the fortitude right now to overcome if you follow God's directive. Now, here it is. Let it go. Here's what I want to emphasize today. There are people right now. Please hear me today. There are people right now, and perhaps you are one of those people, that are paying a ridiculous price for something you did not decide or you did not anticipate buying. Listen to me today. There are people, maybe you are one of them, that are paying a ridiculous price for something that you did not decide to buy. How are you paying this price? It's in your connections. Please hear me today. Please hear me. It's in your connection. It's some things that you have decided to connect to that it's costing you something, and it's a very expensive price. Please be with me. I keep saying please because this is going to be difficult for some, but it's a doable thing. If you're ready to go into destiny, decisions, decide season, and you're going to have to make a decision on some people. Number one, whenever God starts shifting you into higher levels of living and higher calling in him, or he opens up what he desires, he shifts your crowd. Paul had the experience on the road to Damascus. It's time for you to go into ministry. Now let me shift. Notice what the text says, very powerful. It says he goes blind. He goes blind. Paul goes blind. And when he goes blind, God blinds him so that he could shift his crowd. This is so important. Shift his crowd. He says, listen, in this transitional moment of yours, there is a moment where you might go blind for just a moment. What God is trying to do, he's trying to blind you to what was so he can open your eyes to what is. Yes, you won't see things the way you used to see things. Please stay with me. So there's a shifting. Yes, there's a shifting right now that's happening for those that are walking into destiny. You're going to be challenged at a God level because it's time to live a God life. Please stay with me. So here it is. There is people that are listening to me right now. You're paying a heavy price, a ridiculous price for something that you did not decide to buy. It wasn't the thing that you wanted, but because of your connection, you are having to pay for it. In other words, because of them, there's things and people that won't connect to you. Because of them, there are things and people that won't connect to you. They won't connect to you because of them. Stay with me now. Stay with me now. This is very important. You're going to have to make a decision moving forward. Now, watch this. Have you ever wondered? Have you ever, still talking about let it go. You still share people say, hey, get it here, get it here. I need you in the house. Have you ever wondered why a connection with somebody important didn't fully develop? It seems like all of a sudden, everything looked promising. And then all of a sudden, everything went silent. The person that I knew that could actually be very resourceful in my moving to the next level, now all of a sudden the connection was lost. Have you, anybody else noticing that? This is happening to somebody. This is happening to somebody. Have you noticed that? It started out so wonderful. This was a promised connection, and all of a sudden everything went dark. I thought this would be a moment that I could connect and God could move me. Because listen to me, brothers. Don't mistake it. For you to move forward, it's going to be through connection. Even in the giving verse, it says, if you give, God will give back to good measure, pressed down, shaken together, shall men. There's going to be a connection with men that God allowed the blessing to enter into your life. So people are important. Have you ever been in the place of connection with somebody strategic that could move you to the next level, and then all of a sudden you didn't hear from them again? That was an abrupt disconnect. Well, let me tell you why that's happening. You need to hear this. You need to hear this. It's because they knew connecting to you would be actually connecting to them. In other words, they knew that their connecting to you would actually connect them to the persons that you were connected to. This is important. And they know if I connect to you, you connected to them, then whatever they're connected to, that automatically puts me in a position to be connected. And so they abruptly said, no, I can't do that. I like you. I would love to have an exchange with you, but I'm not, because you are connected to something that I don't want to connect to. And so it abruptly ended. This is happening to somebody. I know it is. And so I was getting ready to do this uplift, and I want to share this. I love when there's a life experience that I have that God really opened my eyes to a situation, because you're going to let go of some things and some people that were important in the past season that right now they're not conducive for your next. And the thing that's holding up your next is that you are so caught up into what was. When you're so caught up into the what was, you are not open for what is to come. And that's been the dilemma. You call it whatever you want, but it's your connection. I went up to, just before I started to got prepared for Lunchtime Uplift today, I went up to, I got a place in my house called Man Cave upstairs where I go in. You know, I can watch my football games and all that stuff there without interruption from my wife. All of us men, I got that special. Well, I got a place where I can connect my computer, I can connect my iPad, my phone, and all the other things that I need to connect. It's a power center. And when I got ready to go and take my cord to bring it down where I do Lunchtime Uplift, I tried to unplug my cord and to move it downstairs. And when I picked up my cord, there was a big burst of spark, like boom. I mean, dangerously big. And now it bewildered me that this thing is striking fire like this. And so I tried to move it again. It started striking fire again. And so what I did was I said, oh, this is dangerous. This got the potential. This is something that I trust. I've been trusting. This cord has been perfectly fine. It has powered my stuff. It has brought energy to all of my stuff. But here it is. I go in to pull it or to take the cord and it starts striking fire. Something that I've used several times. Something that means so much to me. Here it is. Here it is. I go to the wall and I disconnect my cord from the wall before I examine again because of the spark. When I look down at my cord, I discovered something, that one of my devices was halfway connected, and a hanger, believe this, a wire hanger had gotten between the connection of my device, and it was sparking fire. And so after I pulled the hanger out, plugged it back up, everything's working fine. When I seen that, immediately the Spirit of God started speaking to me. He said to me this. He says, there are some connection issues that's causing what would be a blessing to you to become something that could be very treacherous. It's causing a disconnect that is causing you to not be able to take advantage of something that was there for you to have an advantage. That's what is happening right now. Your connections, there's something that's gotten between your connection with the right source that is causing a dangerous situation. What is it dangerous for? It is dangerous to your destiny, because you're still putting something in between what you are supposed to connect to bring you energy and power. Somebody needs to hear that. So you're going to have to let it go. Say it with me. Let it go. Proverbs said it like this. Proverbs says it like this. Let me put scripture on it so that you can see very clearly what I am saying. Proverbs says this. Proverbs 17, verse 18. Watch this. It says, a man void of understanding striketh hands, and becometh surety in the presence of his friend. In other words, they don't connect to you because you're connected to them. A man void of understanding. And if you don't understand this, you're striking hands with somebody or standing in agreement with something that the people that are looking on that can help or say this is destiny moment can pull you in. They're saying, I can't connect to you because you are indebted to everything that person owes in his reputation or her reputation. You are indebted because you're standing in agreement. This is where the disconnect has begun for so many. You are connected to something that won't allow you to connect to something. And every time you put that thing between you and the connection that brings you the power or the energy, there's a spark that is given. It's a protective mechanism. God don't want you to use it. So he says, unplug, disconnect, and then replug. Somebody gonna get that. Unplug, reconnect, and then replug. Unplug, reconnect, and then replug. Here it is. You're gonna have to let it go. Your connections has caused you not to be connected. So you're going to have to let some people go in this season of your life. This is so powerful. I'm stuck here. You need to hear what I'm saying to you. You are so potent and so powerful. And you are letting some connection diminish you down to just limited function, very limited function. And so now you are going to have to unplug. You're going to have to let it go. Now, watch this. You are so impressed with what they was that you cannot see who they are right now. That's powerful right there. You are so caught up into what they were and what they was that you can't see who they is right now. You cannot even see that that connection has not produced any life in a long time. As a matter of fact, it is sucking the life out of me. But I feel so obligated because at one period of my life, they were so potent. At one juncture in my life, maybe I needed them bad for this thing. And so I spend the rest of my life paying them back for what they did. What you got to understand in this situation, my brothers and sisters, you brought something to the table. It's just at the time you didn't know who you were. Now God is giving you vivid definition of you again, the magnitude of you. And now he's saying there's a disconnection from something that is holding you in a position, and I need you to let it go. I need you to get refocused. I need you to move on from the situation. Now let's put some scripture on it. I need you to see this, man. This is very powerful. I need you to see this. Let's put some scripture to this. Genesis, the 23rd chapter. I'm gonna somebody write that in. Genesis 23. I'm gonna do verses 1 through 9. Genesis 23, verse 1 through 9. I need you to see this. I need you to see this very vividly as you are making preparation right now to move on. It is your season to move forward. There are some things that you're going to have to disconnect from. They are bringing comfort. These are things that bring comfort to your life. Please hear me. These are not bad things. These are good things. Remember, it was not the bad part of the tree that deceived Eve. It was the good parts. This deception comes in the good. There are some things that you are comfortable with. Comfortable breeds complacentness. Comfort breeds complacent, meaning you are not going to make a move as long as you're comfortable. There were people that was important for a certain period in life. God is ready for you to move on. We thought that we could never, in our doctrine today, we think people will tell you in a minute if you decide that God has given you a different directive. I always suggest this to people. If you really want to know how people feel about you, what is in their heart toward you, tell them that God has given you to go in a different direction. That's when you really hear who you really are to them. As long as you stick around, as long as you're doing what they want you to do, you are blessed and highly favored. The moment you come in and say, well, God is shifting me and sending me into another direction, then you understand who you really are or who they really, how they really feel about you. Unfortunately, that's the case. Now, in scripture, we thought that today we teach that if you leave me, then you're cursed. You can't make it, blah, blah, blah. But when you read in scripture, do define research in scripture, you discover that God would always shift someone out of a position, say you'll never return again. That was his regular method. This was nothing unusual. You would always leave home. You are out of here because there's work that you need to be doing here. Abraham, leave your country, your family, your father's house. These are the significant voices that will challenge you when you hear from me. They are voices of comfort and they are voices of complacency. I'm going to give you a directive. I don't need to be challenged by the familiar voices in your life. I don't need you to go ask them, do you think that I should make this move? Every move God gives you is a movement of faith. They won't understand. They're going to tell you something to save you in their mind. I'm telling you what is the road of least resistance that bring the least amount of harm. That's what they do. But it does not allow you to be great, because every time God gave you a directive, he's going to challenge you. And if you're going to be great, every David needs a Goliath. And under the instructions of Saul, who is the person to save Israel, he tells David, when he get ready to take the challenge of Goliath, he says, you are just a boy. This giant been fighting since he was a boy. Now, this was not him trying not to let David be great, because Saul was really challenging, being challenged by Goliath. Goliath was really issuing the challenge to Saul. When he says, I am here one man. If you send somebody to defeat me, all of Philistines will bow down. You send one man. He's talking about Saul. Saul didn't take the challenge. So the people that are in your corner speaking to you are not people that really hate you. They are people that's trying to keep you at a normal life. That's what they don't understand. They're keeping you normal. You are not normal. God didn't create you to be normal. He created you for greatness. So you're going to have to take challenges. And so they were telling David, don't do this because you'll die. It's a voice of comfort. This is why God always moves us from the voices of comfort. You got to let them go, because they will hold you in just usual life. This is why you are so messed up right now. This is why you feel some kind of way right now, because you were not built to be usual. You were not built for normal life. You were built for greatness. So you have to let it go. Now, in the book of Genesis, please stay with me. Here it is. God commands Abraham of something very powerful. He told him, first, leave your country, family, kindred. Here's something that is important. I need y'all to hear this. Stay with me right here. I need y'all to hear this. You got to know when it's time for you to advance and move on. You've got to know when it's time for you to advance and move on. This means there are some things, please hear me, there are some things that meant everything in your past season. But in this next season, in this next phase of life, it won't be as significant as it was back then. It won't be. That's the holdup. That's the holdup. Now, I'm going to read this in Genesis, the 23rd chapter, verse 1 through 9. It's a very powerful passage of scripture. I need to read this because I want to show you how God challenged Abraham. Watch how God challenges Abraham. Verse 1 says, and Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. Now we're talking about Abraham. We know who Sarah is. Sarah is his wife that gave birth to Isaac, the promised child. In other words, God says, leave, when he tells him 12th chapter, leave your family, kindred, father's house. I'm about to build destiny. I'm going to make you, Abraham, a great nation. A great nation starts off with one. This is why God removes the crowd, because he's going to start something with you. He's not continuing something. So he says, you, Abraham, I'm going to start a great nation. So if you're looking for a nation to already be in existence, he says, no, I'm starting one with you. And so here's Sarah, who is the canal in which promise is going to come through. And so we're beginning the 23rd chapter, first verse speaks on how the canal of the thing, of everything that allowed Abraham to live his dream is dead. Watch this. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. Second verse says, and Sarah died in Kirjath Arba. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah. This is interesting. Stay with me. Came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Why is he weeping? Because this is the very thing that allowed my dream to begin. This is the very canal that allowed everything God told me to be birthed. This is the very thing that my life began to thrive. This is the very tool that God used. But here it is. Sarah died in Hebron, land of Canaan, and Abraham came to mourn. Yes, he's mourning her because she's 127 years. She is what you call a true ride or die chick. If you want to see one, Sarah is it. So much so that this woman was so much in love with Abraham that she wanted to take the plea for Abraham. She wanted to take the rap. Notice he goes into the land of Philistine. He tells her, he says, you're going to have to tell the Philistine king that I'm your sister, because if you don't say this, they're going to kill me. Just imagine that. Now he's telling her, you're going to have, you might be exploited by the Philistines just because you're trying to save my life. He put his wife in a position. You tell him that you're my sister. In other words, if you tell him my sister, you're not my wife, they're going to have their way with you because King has a right. And she said, yes, I do it. So if you want to really look at something that was committed to his cause, here it is, Sarah. And so here it is. She's dead. The very thing, the one thing that he could count on throughout the ages now is dead. Stay with me, because somebody's got to hear this. And now it says he's standing over her mourning and to weep for her. He's crying because he done lost the very thing that meant everything. There's some of you right now, you're in this moment. You're in the moment right now. Watch what it says. The third verse is what I'm getting to. It says, and Abraham, please hear this, and Abraham stood up from before his dead. Don't get it twisted. This is his dead. He's mourning for it. He's hurt. He's bruised. He's reflecting. I remember the time we went on this. We did this together. You were always there. I could count on you when I couldn't count on nobody. Blah, blah, and blah. And it says he stands up before his dead. Watch this. And spake unto the sons of Het, saying, please don't miss this. He says to the sons of the area, he says, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. This is such an important passage of scripture for you right now. You're going to have to let some things go. Sarah was everything to Abraham. The dream, the destiny, the legacy came through her. But he noticed something here, and he had to come to a conclusion. He's mourning her death, he's weeping, and he stands up. And here's what he stood up into. He stood up understanding, if God wanted her here, she would still be here. But since God has decided that it's time for her to transition out of my life, I'm going to have to stand up and find a place to bury her, listen to this, out of my sight. In other words, I've got to put her in a position. This does not discredit all that she was to me, but I know if I put her in a place where I can see it all the time, every day of my life, I'm going to reflect, and it's going to stop me from growing into my next level. Stay with me. If I don't bury her out of my sight, every day I will reflect, and it'll cause me not to be able to function in the maximum potential of what God has promised me. I'm going to say it again. If I don't bury this thing out of my sight. Now, this includes people, places, and things. If I don't take this thing and put it away, I know that it was everything then, but right now, it's not producing life. I knew that at one phase of my life, it was everything. I want to emphasize that. Sarah was everything then, but now God has made a decision to allow her to leave his life. He had to make a decision that I'm going to stand up because God has made a decision. And I'm going to take the thing that meant everything in one phase and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to bury it in a place that I don't have to struggle with it every day, because that very thing will cause me not to live in my great now. That thing will not allow me to live greatness. Now, here's something important about this text I want to show you. Abraham tells the people of the land, he says, the land of Hebron, in the land of Canaan, he says, I am a stranger. Listen to it. I'm a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burial place with you that I may bury my dead out of my sight. Notice what Abraham says to the people that he's residing with right now. He's been living there with Sarah. He's been living there with Sarah. He's been happy in the place with Sarah. He's been happy in the place with Sarah. But now that Sarah is gone, he understands I was a stranger here. Listen to me closely. I was a stranger in this land. Sometimes God will allow things to leave your life so that you can recognize that the position you are in, you were and is a stranger in this position now. It is time for you to move on. Please hear me. It is time for you to move to your next level. When you see the depth or the disconnect in the area, he says, it is time for you to move on. So he says, I am a sojourner with you. Now, watch this. Watch this. They come back and they say, well, Abraham, he says, hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thou dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thou dead. Please stay close to this text. Stay with me. We'll give you the best of it, Abraham. Watch this. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Het. The 8th verse says, and he communed with them, saying, if it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me to Ephraim the son of Zohar. 9th verse says, that he may give me the cave of Mizpah. Watch this, which he had, which is in the end of his field, the furthest part of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession of a burying place among you. Very powerful exchange in scripture. Abraham says, look, I'm going to bury Sarah here. I'm just a sojourner here. I'm a stranger here. The depth has just caused me to realize it's time for me to move. And he says, now I want to bury her here. I'm going to leave her here in a place that I don't have to every day see it and reflect and allow my creativity to be stumped. He says, I want a place to bury her. Please hear me. Please hear me. Please hear me. He says, I want to pay full price for the burying place. I want to pay full price. I know you said you will give me this, but I need to pay for it. This is very important that you hear this. I need to pay for this. In other words, it's going to cost you something to bury this thing that meant everything in a season. It's not an easy task. It's not going to be an easy choice. It's going to cost you something. But everything it costs you is well worth you paying to move on into destiny. Everything that is going to cost you in this season to disconnect from this place of mediocre, it's well worth the price. Abraham says, I know you say you'll give it to me, but it'll mean a lot more to me if I pay for it. There's some things that God allow you to pay for. People are trying to give you stuff. That means that they can hold you in a position. But this next season, it's going to cost you something. You're going to bury something that meant a lot to you in the past. You're going to have to let it go to move into your future. It's going to cost you a heavy price. It's difficult, but it is very doable. There's some difficult decisions you're going to have to go in the letting go of people that meant everything. Sarah meant everything to Abraham. But if God has made a decision that it's time for them to decease in your life, you better let go and believe God, because it's time for you to move on in life. And this is the segue into greatness. Now, Abraham paid the price. He paid the full price. He actually did exactly what God wanted him to do. And now we read that he went down in history as the father of faith. If for you to go down in history, there's going to be some things that challenge you, and you're going to have to make a decision on that most people perhaps can't make. That's why he's shifting your crowd. There's somebody that you got in your life right now. They are not conducive. I don't care what title they got. I don't care how big you thought they were. I don't care what they done in your past. God is requiring you to let it go. You're going to have to bear it in faith so that you can move on. Listen, your connections are causing disconnections. There are some other areas that God is trying to connect you in, and you are missing the moment. Sarah was the one that allowed Abraham to birth Isaac, the promised child, in the season. But here's the interesting thing about it. If you go to the 25th chapter of Genesis, right just a couple of other chapters over, the text starts out by saying, watch this, Abraham found another wife. Let me read it to you. This is very powerful. I think it's a very powerful moment. Abraham, it says, then again, watch this, then again. Now remember, when Abraham took Sarah, he thought that was it. That was the ending of everything. This is going to be forever. Notice, then Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Keturah, watch this. And she bare him 6 other sons. Very powerful story. Very powerful. Now, let me explain to you what this and the significance of this. Don't let a prior situation stop you from giving new birth. Say it again. Don't let a prior situation hinder you from giving birth in your present situation. Please hear it one more time. Don't let a prior connection stop you from connecting and giving even more birth than you did before. This is very powerful. Somebody see this. You are not done yet. You had to make a decision to let something go that meant everything, because God is about to again give you an opportunity to birth in magnitude and multitude. Please hear this. You're going to give birth again in magnitude and in multitude. There are some connections that are going to have to change so that God can shift. You're going to have to give God right to shift. God needs the power of attorney in your life. He needs the right, in other words, to become your Lord. To become your Lord. You have made him your Savior. Now it's time for you to give him the right to be your Lord. In other words, what is a Lord? A Lord can give you direction and you don't question. You move at his command. This is such a strategic moment in your life. This has been the hold up of your next level. It's some people, some things you're holding on to that won't let. There's some connection that has been disconnected because the person that's supposed to connect in your future won't connect to you because you're still connected to something in your past. And they know connecting to you is actually connecting to that. And so they say, I can't connect to that. I can't connect to that. I really like you. I really want to go higher and develop something great with you, but I can't because you're still so connected to what was great in a season. You are so caught up into what they was till you really can't see what they are right now. You can't. And so what you are in love with, because love covers a multitude of faults. Somebody else is standing saying, I ain't as in love with that as you are, and I can see clearly that connecting to that is not going to allow us to produce what God is trying to produce. And so we have to go on. In 2 Kings 20 chapter, when you read this, well actually, this is a story about a king named Hezekiah. It starts at 2 Kings 18, 19, 20. 20th chapter of this particular book is so interesting. I want you to look at this because somebody need to hear this. Somebody need to hear this. Here's the important part. Hezekiah is king of Judah. Here's what I want you to understand. Connections are everything. Connections are everything. The enemy knows when it's time for you to move. He knows, he sees things that you can't even see. He sees something about you that you cannot even dare declare over yourself. Because of the things that you struggled in life, because of the things that you constantly go through. I'm going to tell you again, like I said up front, every person of promise is going through some problems. If you're a person of promise, you're going to go through some problems. If you don't face the challenge of Goliath and overcome it, you'll go down in history as just a shepherd boy. That's not God's desire for your life. Greatness is your calling. Abraham will make your name great. So if I'm making name great, you're going to have to go through some situations that allow you to, to build your faith. Great comes through great faith. Hear me, hear me. In 2 Kings 20th chapter, I want to read it. I'm paraphrasing, so you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to read this yourself. Hezekiah is a king. At this moment in the history of the kings of Israel and Judah, they're being besieged by a Assyrian army, and they're being taken over. It's time to be taken over. And Hezekiah has experienced the king of Assyria done circled the city, done besieged his city, and he's afraid. You know the text, read it, 18, 19, 20. And after overcoming the besiege, because him being over Judah, who is much smaller than Israel. This is very powerful. Israel at this moment is split into two different northern kingdom, southern kingdom. The northern kingdom of Israel was much larger than the southern part, which is Judah. And so the posture of Israel usually influenced the posture of Judah, because Judah was so much smaller, two tribes, as opposed to northern Israel being 10 tribes. And so if an enemy came in and it conquered the big brother, the big one, then usually the little one thought it's imminent that I'm gonna go and be conquered as well. That's what life is for us. When we see somebody that we think is much greater than we are being conquered or being taken over, we automatically assume that who are we to think that we can survive what they did not survive. I'm speaking to somebody, because you might see yourself as small, but God says, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. The connection that you have might conquer and be conquered. That's why I'm disconnecting you, so that you won't fall prey to what they are falling prey to. Stay with me now. And so Hezekiah, who's king of Judah, is watching Israel, and he's afraid. You know, he goes up to the temple, he prays and shows the letter from God, gets the word from Isaiah, and Isaiah tells him, don't worry about this. Even though the persons that you thought was greater than you should be, and you thought it was everything, they conquered. They got problems in their life. And it's going to be a disconnect, and you don't have to worry about it as long as you stay focused on what I'm trying to tell you. I've disconnected some things so that you won't be influenced by that, because as long as you're with me, it ain't your size that let you thrive. It's your faith in God. And don't never, ever, ever, ever judge your size by your eyes. In other words, don't ever determine anything great based off who you got around you and how big in the magnitude. Your faith is what delivers greatness into your possession. Somebody needs to hear that. Your faith is what delivers. Don't despise your small beginning. Don't connect to things just because you think that I got to have them to be what I can be in God. And so Hezekiah goes through the whole thing. Here's what I wanted to get to in the 20th chapter. After going through seeing the Assyrian army come and God deliver him from the moment. Now, at this juncture, there were so many countries that was much larger than Judah and Hezekiah that had been conquered. But God says, I don't care who's fallen. As long as you trust what I say to you and follow my directions, you're going to be all right. As long as you stay connected to me, you're going to be all right. And so in the 20th chapter of 2 Kings, Hezekiah is sick. he's sick unto death, really. He's ready to die. This sickness is a sickness that's supposed to take him out. Very important, very important, very important. So he prays, or a scripture says he sets his face to the wall. Interesting how it is constructed. He turns his self away from all of the distractions, and he turns himself to the wall. I'm turning my back on all the things that are happening in the world, and I'm focusing on the one that can bring deliverance. He prays, and you know the word of the Lord comes through to him through Isaiah, and Isaiah tells him that the Lord has just added 15 more years to your life. Please hear me. I love the scripture. Please hear me. You got 15 more years to your life. Now he's overcame the Assyrian army that attacked many countries and taken them out, even Israel, taking them out. Now, He's conquered sickness in his body. The Lord has healed him because he's paying attention to God. Whenever you pay attention to God, you can live God's greatest. Watch this. He's been sick, and the Lord just expressed through his word, you're going to live further. Watch this. After being healed from God, receiving the healing of God, he gets a letter. He gets a letter. Please, these are very important times. He gets a letter from the king of Babylon's son. Please hear this. The king of Babylon's son. Here's the letter. He gets a get well card from the king of Babylon. He gets in other words, watch this. It's 20:18-19. He gets a text saying, I heard you've been sick. Thank God for your healing. Now, this is the king of Babylon. This king of Babylon writes a text. And so once he gets the letter, he deliver the letter to Hezekiah. That meant a lot. Oh, this man done sent some people to my house to tell me get well. And so when they come to his house, he is so impressed by the son of the Babylonian king that he invites him in. Come on into the house. He invites him in, and with the limited mentality that he has. Now, he's king of Judah, but he's small in comparison to everybody else. Be very careful that you don't despise who you are right now because you look at everybody else and think they're so much larger and got so much more and doing so much better. He is so caught up into this king's son sending him a letter. Now he feel like he belongs. He invites them in to his house. Read it. This is 2 Kings 20. He invites them in and he shows them all the treasure of his house. He withheld nothing from them. He took them through everything, all of the private parts, everything that was in his house. He showed them just because they sent a get well card. This is very important. Very important. You're going to have to watch this enemy. He's going to find you in a vulnerable position and he's going to send you a text. They're going to send you a text and say, oh, I've been watching you. I'm concerned. Why? Oh, watch it. I've been watching. I am concerned. And if you don't have discernment, you would think, I finally arrived. I knew I would be something when I got the attention of them. I knew I was something when I got the attention of that person. It's because you don't know who you are. You can't perceive who you are in God's call on your life. Watch this. He shows them everything. Once they leave his house, here it is. Elisha, the prophet, Isaiah, the prophet, comes to his house and say, let me ask you a quick question. What did you show them? And he goes on to say, I showed them everything, man. They sent me a goodwill card. They love me. Man, they sent me a goodwill card and I showed them everything. And here's the word of the Lord from Isaiah to Hezekiah. He says, everything that you showed them will be taken by them. Watch this, very important. Everything that you showed them will be taken by them. Notice what he says. Even your children, in other words, even your future will be taken. Your legacy is going to be taken by them. He says your future, your children, your sons, watch this, will be captive in the house of eunuchs in Babylon. In other words, yeah. Look, read Daniel. They were captive in the house of the eunuchs, Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach. You know the story. And here it is. He says, because you didn't know who you were, you made connections because you didn't know who you were. And now the connection that you made is going to cause you to be plundered. Here's what Hezekiah didn't know about the son of the king of Babylon. The son of the king of Babylon has watched his life. When he didn't know who he was, there was somebody that was watching what he had overcome. Stay with me now. There was somebody that was watching what he had overcome. Now remember, Babylon at this time, or the Babylonian people at this time, were not a superpower. They were just people waiting to be conquered by the superpower called the Assyrians. And so here it is, the king of Babylon's son watched Hezekiah survive what everybody else had been overtaken by. Every other country had been overtaken, and there's this one little small Judah that when the Syrians came, God protected them and sent them back to their land. He overcame. This is very powerful. And so what he was looking at, or what he came to do, is make a connection with somebody or something that had overcome what everybody else said would kill. Everything that had killed everybody else, Hezekiah had overcome. But there are times that we can't see ourselves and the blessedness of God on our life. Here's what you're going to understand. Every time you went through, you came through. Every time you've gone through, you came through. Every time you've gone through, you've come through. You have come through it. You might not have came through perfectly, but God protected you every time. There's somebody that's watching that want to take advantage of your favor. Ooh, that's why he says you're going to have to let some people go. There's somebody that's going to come in, and why didn't you send me the letter while I was sick? Why didn't you send me or ask me if I needed something while I was having the issue? Why you wait till I'm healed to send? But because I don't know who I am and what I don't know what I'm in possession of now, I make a connection to something that is waiting for me to come into the right position so that they can exploit everything that I have. Stay with me now. Stay with me now. I'm almost done. My time is almost up. Here it is. There's some of you that you're going to have to let go. There's some connections that won't let you make the right connection. You have been through some struggling things. You have overcome everything. You didn't come out or you didn't look like you wanted to look while you were in the struggle, but you're going to have to rest and know that God has brought you. There's somebody that know you don't know who you are, and they're going to connect to you because they are waiting on the day that with the favor that you got on your life, I know what you can produce. And the same thing that the king of Babylon, son, sing in Hezekiah. He says, somebody that can overcome what they're going through, I want them on my team. But I'm going to present it to them as I'm presenting them an opportunity, when actually it's me getting an opportunity with them because they got the favor. They have overcome. They have overcome every time. Watch this. As sure as the word of God came forth, we find out that the descendants end up in Babylon captive, and everything that the word of God said came to pass. This is what you got to understand. There are people right now that you're connected to, that this is the greatest challenge of your life. Moving forward, there are some things, some situations, some people that you're going to have to let go. Your connection is causing a disconnection. They're causing your faith to be in them and not in God. You are despising the smallness of your beginning. Like Abraham, there are some things that meant everything in one season that in this season, God says, let it go. I know what it meant. I know what it allowed you to get. I know what it produced, but it's not producing now. You discovered that it's dead. You're going to have to get up before you're dead. The situation that I have allowed to cease, you're going to have to get up. You're going to have to bury that thing in a place out of your sight. Because if you don't, you're going to think about it every day. You're going to dwell on it every day. And your growth in me won't be able to produce the maximum life that I desire. This is what God is saying to us right now. This is a season of to let it go. There's some things that's going to be difficult, but you got to let it go. There won't be any excuses in this season. Either you're going to do it or you're not. Now, here's the thing about God. He never comes in and forces us to do anything. He says, I set before you this day. I call out heaven and earth against you. I set before you life and death. The text says life and death, good and evil. I can't tell you. I'm not going to make you to choose anyone. But I will suggest to you that you choose life. Choose life. This is a season of choice. This is a very confusing season, because I know there's things that mean everything. That mean things that gave you an opportunity. But God says now it's a new season. It's a new time for you to walk into greater things, and you're going to have to make the decision. Either I'm going to stay where I am, I'm going to make a choice to move on with God. I would strongly suggest that you make the choice, because what you had don't even compare to what you're about to get if you make the decision. Let's pray together. Father, I thank you today for this word. Thank you for everyone that's listening to the sound of my voice. Thank you for allowing them to come into this moment called great. Lord, allow us to let go of the things that were great in one season, but is not producing in this next season. God, if I can trust you in this season to allow you to give me what you have for me now, I know that you're going to produce greater life than I ever had. I don't want to pass opportunity to hinder me from giving birth in this season of my life. So I thank you for giving me directions, giving me the desire to move on the direction. I appreciate you so much right now. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank God again for those of you that are in the house. Thank you so much. Now, this video will be up on my YouTube page shortly. Pastor G at Network of Believers. Pastor G at Network of Believers. Pastor G at Network of Believers. Go and look at all these videos. And for those of you that don't know, on my YouTube page, I post other videos that I don't post live. I only post it for the subscribers of my YouTube page. They're uplifting words. You can go there. This past week, I'm very active there. So go watch the videos. Go subscribe and watch the videos that are on my YouTube page. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, Saturday, 27th, I'm speaking at Graham's Temple Church of God in Christ in the Little Rock area. I personally invite you guys out. This is their 92nd church anniversary. Traditionally, churches have their anniversaries on Sunday, but this year it's unusual they're having it on Saturday because they got an unusual person speaking. So watch this. Get ready. I am excited about it. See you tomorrow, 3 p.m., Graham's Temple Church of God in Christ. Amen. And Sunday, for those of you that are in the Little Rock area, I would love to see your face in the place. 1111 West 7th Street, downtown Little Rock, Arkansas, is the home of Network of Believers. I am excited about what is happening for you as well as for me. The best is yet to come. You haven't seen anything yet. Thank you. I hope you live a tremendous life. But I'm here to announce to you your tremendous life is even going to be better because you're going to follow directions of God for this such time as this. Thank God for Roche. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you always for your words of encouragement as well. Thank you, Jeanette Wallace. Leroy Sutton, my friend. Hey, call me, Leroy. I don't think I have your number anymore. Call me. Michelle Perkins, Brooks, my sister Gloria, Christy Jones out in Los Angeles. Thank you, Jeremiah Gardner. Thank you so much. Who else is in the house? Raina. Love you, Raina. Safe travels. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Freddie, Mike Neal, thank you for being in the house today. Thank you so much. Pastor Nolan Brown, thank you so much. Corbin Nash, thank you guys so much. Who else is in here? Adrian Jordan, Pastor DJ Johns, Pastor Gilbert Johns. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate, of course, my wife. Thank you so much. Thank God for my Monday, October 29th. 30 years on October 29th. Thank you, babe. Thank you for tolerating me 30 long years. Pamela Williams, Prophet Pam, thank you so much for being in the house. Jamie Wilson, thank you so much, man, for being in the house. Shirley, thank you. Thank you. Pastor Marissa, thank you guys so much. All right, that's as far as my, let me go back to see who's in. For all of you, Leah, my sister Sarah, all of you guys in New York and in Oakland, thank you guys so much for always in support. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, this weekend, and you should be living the greatest life of your life. Happiness is a choice. You got to choose to be happy. So I would advise that you make a choice to be happy. Don't wait for somebody to bring it to you. Make a choice right now where you are. I'm going to be happy. Amen. And invite them to be happy too. Hey, if you don't want to, hey, well, you get it? All right. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. For those of you that want to give, you can go to the Cash App, the cash sign NOBC, the NOBC. That's our Cash App address. NOBC. Thank you, and thank you. I am out of here. Trying to make sure I got everybody here. Thank you. I am out of here. Love you guys. If you're not in the Little Rock area, rest assured, Monday, I'll be right here on my anniversary. I'm still going to do lunchtime up there. Holla.